Do you see this kind of visualization being useful for other things in career and all those kinds of
All
things?
100%. 100%. Because I just know with my own life, my own experiences, like my wife sometimes says to me, she says, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Yeah.
And 5 years ago, I had said to her, I want to have my own business. I want to have, this is the amount of money that I'm hoping I can make in a given year. Like, you have to have goals for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you put out there, like, okay, I want to make $1 million in a year. That's a big number.
Yeah.
Like for me or for the normal person, that's a really big number. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, especially when you're not making that much at the time. It's a super big number, right? So having those goals for yourself, like it won't happen, and it's not possible unless you dream it's possible and think that it's possible. And then it doesn't magically happen, and maybe it doesn't happen in 5 years, maybe it happens in 10. But at least you're on the path to getting there. You know what I mean? And I said, I want to own my own business. I want to control my own destiny. I want to be my own boss. I want to make my own decisions. Like, these are the things that I told her I wanted to do. And now I'm at that point, where, I work for myself. I have my own company. I have partners, obviously. But like, if I want to pick up and go somewhere for a week, I just do. I don't have to ask permission to do it. Right? That's what life, freedom, right? That's what I'd like. It's so.
And all of it starts with a dream.
In the same with my dojo, when I first opened, so I ran a dojo for a long time, and I only had 60 students always, like 40 to 60 students. It fluctuated. And I said to myself, why can't I get more people in my door? Right? So I hired consultants to come in and look at my business and say, why? Right? And they came in and said, well, this place is really intimidating. Like, if I was coming in off the street, the first thing I see is this big Olympic champion on the wall, and I see this training that's going on, and these guys are flying through the air and landing hard. And as a white belt, you're telling me that's the class for me? Like, no way, I'm not going to do that. So like, I listened to these people, and I said, you're right. And the training was hour and a half, 2 hours long. People can't handle an hour and a half or 2 hours training when they're first walking in the door. So I had to restructure all my programming. I had to look at the way I was offering my curriculum at my school, and I had to make levels for everybody, right? Like, here's my 4 to 6 year old class. Here's my 6 to 13 year old class. Here's all my beginner classes. They don't mix in with the advanced people. And and I had to learn how to make it accessible for everybody instead of just the people that wanted to train hard. And then the challenge was, okay, if you can have a lot of people in your dojo training, it's a recreational school. You can't produce champions at that same school. That's what I was told. So then I got all my black belts together, and I said, listen, this is my vision. This is what I want. I want to have a club that has over 200 judo-only athletes. No jiu-jitsu, no karate, nothing. Judo only. I want over 200 people. And inside of that dojo, I want to have Olympic champions, and I want to have recreational. Like, little kids, 5 and 6 years old, older guys in their 70s training. I don't care, but I want the spectrum of recreational, and I want Olympic champions. The only way to do that is to take your instructors and say, you're going to do this, define the roles, who's going to be the recreational coach, who's going to be the competitive coach, how do we separate these programs? And lo and behold, that was my vision that I shared with all of them. And that was back in 2006. And by 2012, we got Olympic champion Kayla Harrison. We have over 200 people at the school. We have a successful, thriving business. But it doesn't happen without that vision, a plan, and believing that it's possible.
Believing that it's possible. I don't know, but I personally have, on top of that, almost like very specific visions of a future. Like, I don't know what, because I don't want to give actual examples, because for several reasons, one of which is just people will, as they often will in your life, they'll just laugh at it a little bit. Like, that seems silly. And I'm very hesitant to share certain things like that with people because I'm with Johnny Ive, who's the lead designer in Apple. Like, you want that dream, that little flame people will put that flame out too easily, even people that love you. So I have very specific kind of visions, like maybe for Travis it would be like a specific opponent or something, like Ole Bischoff, like very specific very specific situation of what's going to happen. Not just like I want to be Olympic champion, but very specific, like almost silly situations. Yeah, like the dynamic between Travis and Ole Bischoff or something. Like maybe visualize that. For me, that helps because it makes it all real, even more real. It's not like some big goal, like $1 million or something like that, which is also really important to have because you can measure it and so on. But it's just like you belong in those situations. Just believing you belong
Right.
there. It's not the
It can be you.
Yeah, it could be you. And that for some reason that really helps me. The little details.
Sure.
The like visualizing most of them are almost a little bit funny. Like the focusing on the funniness. It's the mundaneness of it helps me a lot. And all the people that have done great things, they're just human too.
Correct. And I think a lot of people overestimate who others are, right? And don't and sell themselves too short.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, everybody started like everybody else, really. I mean, we did. You know, we're all infants. We couldn't walk. We couldn't talk. We couldn't do anything. We learned along the way. And I think that's the one thing that I realized is that, and I tell this to my athletes, but I also tell it to my recreational students. Nobody is better than you are. Nobody, unless you allow them to be. Right? If you really want something to happen, then like map the plan, believe in yourself, decide, and know full out. You're going to fail a lot. You're going to get beat down. You're going to have losses. You're going to have struggles. And I think that's the one thing with social media today is that everybody sees everybody succeed. Nobody posts a picture when they're on the ground and failure, losing. Mm-hmm. Like nobody sees when you broke your arm and you had to go through rehab, whatever it is, like had your injuries and you were on your couch watching TV and you were suffering and you were like, everybody has really, really dark, bad moments in their life and defeats and losses and suffrage. And it's only at the end, after they've recovered from all of that, they've reclimbed up the mountain and they've gone to the pinnacle that you see them on social media with the medal, right? But everybody else like struggles and was human and failed many, many times. And, convincing yourself that you're capable, I think is the first start with everything.
Do you need people in your life that believe in you, or should most of it come from within yourself?
I think most of it has to come in from it. It certainly helps, but it has to come from you first. You have to be driven. Like other people can help you define where you want to go and help you get there and encourage you and can support you. And, whether it's resource wise or with connections and like they can help with that path. But that first part has to come from you. It has to be your passion, your desire, it's your commitment to yourself. You're the one that's going to ultimately make all the sacrifices to do it. So it has to be your decision, not your parents, not your spouses, something that you're really motivated to do.